Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the fifth and final panel for the Regional Geospatial Youth Forum, an event that aims to build interest, awareness, and a community around geospatial professionals among youth worldwide. I'm your host, Jonathan. Welcome back if you joined us for the earlier sessions. Today, we're excited to introduce the GeoInnovation panelists to share more about how innovative geospatial solutions are used by tech startups and government agencies to tackle different types of challenges today. If you have any questions today during the webinar, please leave them in the Q&A chat box, and we'll answer them at the end of the Q&A section. At the end of the panel, during the Q&A session. So thank you, and without further ado, I will pass the presentation to Jinju, our moderator, who will introduce the speakers for this panel. Jinju, please.
All right, thanks, Jonathan. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining this. I hope most of you have been hanging around from the beginning of the day, so it's been a long day, and it's one of the latest sessions. I promise you it's going to be an exciting chat with four young professionals here. Myself, I'm Jinju. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Carrera Robotics. I've been working a lot with geospatial data, and especially SLA, on drone flights around the city with Virtual Singapore. I'm glad to share that. But today, I really want to hear more from Abhijit, Bell, Yoni, and Maruf. And without further ado, I will first pass the first part of the presentation. It will be more of each of them introducing who they are and what they do. All right. So we're going to start with Abhijit. Right. Abhijit is a 13 years of geospatial experience and in working with NParks, advising many of Singapore's leading geo-enabled organizations to drive their operational efficiencies, right? And he has been helping us digitize Singapore. And again, this is something I think is very important if you have international audience here, right? Singapore is one of those countries where we ID every other tree, right? We have a very good database of how we track and manage the green city that we have, right? And there's a system behind it called Maven, right? And today Abhijit is going to also share a bit about Maven too, etc. Right? So Abhijit, take it away.
Thank you, Jinju, and good afternoon, everyone. And I hope you are doing good. So my name is Abhijit, and I'm the manager for Geospatial in NParks, and I'm helping NParks accelerating the digitalization journey that we have embarked on. So I'm here today to share some of the initiatives that we have been working on over the years. So yeah, if we can start with the next slide. So basically, NParks is currently we are managing around 6 million trees, including 2 million urban trees along the roads in our parks, gardens, and the state land. So the number of tree is set to grow as we embark on our 1 million trees movement to plant another 1 million trees in Singapore over the next 1 decade, which is 10 years. And this is the reason being we want to transform Singapore, our city, into a nature, right? So that is the vision for NParks at this moment. So to help us manage the 2 million urban trees alongside our roads and state lands in the park as well as in the gardens, NParks has been leveraging on the technology for the past 20 years. We have been working with the technology, and it's particularly on the tree inspection, tree inventory, and the maintenance of the trees. So this is generally helping our arborists to manage a large population of the trees. It's basically we are identifying the tree management needs for timely interventions and mitigate the risk of tree failure, especially in view of more adverse weather condition in Singapore due to the climate change. So NParks continue to tap on the technology to digitalization as a booster for operational efficiency and effectiveness. So our internal vision is everything should start from map, meaning all NParks data systems developed on a map. And the reason being there are a couple of purposes. It's a dual purpose that technology have been developed. First of all, to start with our internal operations for our officers to take care of the trees and the inspection, and the second one is to reach out to the public for so that they can see how the trees are being maintained. The ecosystem that we have developed is basically interoperable by leveraging on different technological tools. It's a stepwise implementation that allows our staff to see the utility of the tools. The outline areas of our urban greenery ecosystem, where our digitalization efforts and implementation operational technology have been ongoing for several years. As I told you, like we have been using technology over the last 20 years. And data collected from the various systems, especially for the tree management, are feedback to a central database, what Jinju was talking about earlier, a system called Maven. But also here, with the latest development of the Maven 2, it's a new dashboard for monitoring and control of the trees and its operations. So Maven, as Jinju was mentioning earlier, it's basically NParks Geospatial Technology Proliferation Program, which aims to promote the use of the GIS technology within the NParks by consolidating all the greenery, the park facilities, and the biodiversity data onto a common platform, a common central platform, making this data available for all of our staffs, internal, and equipping our officers so that they can do their work better, more efficiently, and the effectiveness, like operational effectiveness, should be there. So we have leveraged our digitalization master plan to tackle the challenges in the previous year by COVID as well. So if you go to the next slide, it's talking about the tree management. So basically, there are 3 areas that we have focused our digitalization journey, which are the tree management, park management, and biodiversity management. So in parks, we'll focus on leveraging technologies to improve the tree management and the inspections. There are a couple of systems such as tree registry system, or TRS, and mobile TI. These are the mobile applications being developed to improve the efficiency and the management of the trees. Now, NParks also has created a model to determine how trees are behaving or will behave under the different wind conditions and estimate the risk of falling down the trees. So known as a tree structure model, we call it TSM+. So basically, this system takes into account data such as the wood strength and the physical dimensions of the trees, such as the tree height as well as the tree girth. Now, NParks also developed wireless chip sensors that monitor the tree movement, trees tilted at a greater angle. So, for instance, it could be a sign for progressive weakening. Now, on the tree inspection, NParks collaborated with the Singapore Land Authority to convert the LiDAR point cloud data of the tree, the street trees, like into the voxel tree models. That is what I call, and it's kind of the extraction of the tree measurement and the geolocation of the trees. The remote tree management system, or RTMS, it creates a kind of a digital twin of the trees, and so our officers, they can have a panoramic view of the trees through the system, allowing them to remotely assess a plot of the trees. And it also enables our officers to remotely identify the trees that require more in-depth inspection before heading down the ground. So trees planted in such areas like hard to reach areas or any dangerous areas, hazarded areas such as highways, can be monitored safely by this particular system. Now, if you move on to the park management ecosystem, NParks have developed a real-time portal called Safe Distance at Parks. So this particular application, it allows the public to check for a park near them and visitorship status by analyzing the CCTV. So it's kind of real-time CCTV data also coming to the system, and it's analyzing the visitorship status and also analyzing the telco data on the major parks, the gardens, and natural areas. So this is basically helping public to choose a less crowded area before they go to the park, so they can identify which are the less areas and crowded areas to be avoided. So it's basically minimizing the traveling and enhancing the safety of the public. And the biodiversity management ecosystem is basically, we know that Singapore is a large variety of animal and plant species, which can be found in their natural habitats, right? So to safeguard our natural reserves, NParks is developing a forest fire monitoring system. The officers can view surveillance information drawn from the cameras installed at a strategic locations by quickly identifying, what is the fire conditions and its location, where it is situated, so that the rightful action can be taken care by the officer. A drone is also then activated to provide the real-time information of the fire's progress as well. So this system is basically differentiating, varying the fire conditions to preempt changing weather patterns and reduce the need for the staff to physically patrol the natural reserves. So yeah, these are the different technological
That's wonderful.
advancement have been made. Yeah, and
Right.
we have been working as well on this to, to achieve our dream or goal, that to transform Singapore city in a nature.
Right, and I think all of you can actually see. I mean, you can't access Maven, but you can see a glimpse of it if you go to trees.sg, and you can see
Right.
the 1 million trees goal that we have for Singapore.
Right.
All right, thank you, Abhijit. So we'll come back to you soon. Let's go on to the other speakers for them to introduce what they do as well. Next, we have Bell Bay. He's a co-founder and CEO at Buzz AR, and which is one of Singapore's top AR companies, which is part of this tourism accelerator. Now, she was a legal lawyer, I think, right, at Marina Bay Sands, and she had a very high pay, high pay there. But she left that and she decided to build a company around augmented reality, and she started Buzz AR. And I liked when I saw the demo. I was really, really happy because it really gives me that feeling that, especially because now we're not able to travel, right? So it really gave me the feeling that I can go back into this tourism areas and explore the areas and still feel like life can be normal, right? So I let Bale walk you through what this Happy Tune, I think, right? Is go ahead, Bale.
Thanks, Ginju, for the very warm introduction. Hi, everyone. I am Belle. I run Buzz AR. So at Buzz AR, we augment places, which is why we are invited to speak today, and faces. So because right now is a very difficult time, so personally, I want to speak more on my calling. Like my calling is really to make everyone happy again, including myself, like just add happiness to people. That's why we developed this new product after 3 years. I could show you like the whole ecosystem, what we built 3 years ago versus now. Yeah, feel free to give me some feedback as well. So during this COVID period, right, a lot of people are stuck at home. I speak with some users, like they are constantly stuck at home and they are really quite tired, which is why we, after 3 years of augmenting places, we also want to augment faces so we can connect them together when tourism reopens again, which is why we have this tool. It's called Happy Tune. You can download from your app store. A little bit of advertisement. And you can put a static photo of yours. Then you can turn them into cartoon and further animate them with over 100 templates. We can move to the next slide. So in 15 seconds, it really makes someone look good, very happy, and confident. I mean, this is also part of why we are doing this, because when people are stuck at home and you are depressed, the last thing you want to do is you want to shout out and say, hey, I'm lonely. So that's quite sad. So what we do is that we give people a tool. They can right now in 15 seconds look happy and confident. Then it sparks conversation. Then next they will say, okay, where can we go? Let's go out. Then we have some work at the venue. This is the whole thought process, like how we connect people to places. So it's a 3-step process, like we talked about it just now: upload an image, turn it into a cartoon, and animate it. Next, please. So this technology is first showcased at Singapore Tourism SDB office. So we have this technology where we can turn any face into a cartoon or avatar in real time. And right now, after we filed a couple of patents, we decided to make it available to all users. So this is a global app. It's going viral right now as we are speaking. We have penetrated more than 68 countries. And yeah, I wish to spread more happiness and continue this. Next is really what I want to co-create with every one of you. I know most of you are quite young, so I inspire to build a world where we can connect people with places. So we have 2 PCT patents pending applications, solutions that really make real money. So the first one is the past 3 years. We go around venues because our background, 5 to 6 years ago, we were a game studio. So daytime, I work as a lawyer. But during my spare time, I have been helping my co-founder, right now it's my co-founder, to do a lot of VR, UI, UX consultant, design restaurant and all that. This is how I get to learn a lot on how virtual application can help people. So my vision is really to connect metaverse and memes. So on the right side is exactly what we are doing right now. We are putting out a lot of human work. And yeah, we want to connect people to places to help more businesses that are suffering right now and give them a happier place. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Belle. So I was saying being so happy is also because I for one have not actually put my face onto Happy Tune, but I have my friends, including my wife, sending me all these happy. They're like, where is this coming from? Then I trace it back. Oh, it's Bell's app.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that. All right, let's move on to the next speaker, Yoni. Yoni has a GIS background, hail from Malaysia, UTM, and he has experience in terrestrial laser scanning, mobile LiDAR, and a couple of different GIS development solutions, as well as UAV piloting and BIM modeling. Right, so he recently founded a new company, Geospatial Tech, I understand, right? And I will let you tell me more about what he's doing. Go ahead, Yoni.
Hi everyone, hope everyone is safe at home. Okay, so yeah, so maybe I'll give you a little bit more of my background. So like what Jinju said, I'm from Malaysia. So I'm from the GIS background. So I have worked in this geospatial industry for my past 8 years. So I'm specialized in mobile LiDAR, terrestrial laser scanning related industries, as well as UAV and photogrammetry data collection field. So, and after 8 years of working in this industry, I have noticed some shortcomings in the hardware and the software side of this industry, where on each side people are too obsessed with what they do, and they don't adopt new technology that is interesting on the other side. So that's why when this COVID hit, and we have new working style, we have people cannot go out, cannot travel. I think maybe it's time for me to come out and we try to create something that can combine and bridge both sides, combining the hardware and software side to create a new working style, a new hybrid solution to the geospatial industry. So I'm combining my GIS side of the expertise, where I can do some coding and integration works to bridge the hardware and software side together. So I founded this company called Geospatial Tech. So the name indicate that we are asking people to go into spatial thinking, where we advocate people to think from spatial perspective. When you have a problem, when you need a solution, try to think from the spatial perspective. Maybe a spatial solution is what going to change your current situation. So, and also we would also like to always challenge the status quo and also disrupt the current state-of-the-art technology. So, and this is what we are going to do. So, next, please. Right. So this is what we do in Geospatial. So if we look at this chart from the bottom, so on the left-hand side, it is what we do in the traditional geospatial industry. We do reality capture. We do GIS, the traditional GIS, GNSS, then some photogrammetry, remote sensing from satellite images, and also the traditional survey. So these are the what we do all this time. Okay, but on the other hand, on the software and IT industry, we are seeing a lot more new innovative, where I think we can apply in geospatial industry, like what Bell did for her company, AR/VR. So we also have computer vision, IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Okay, and upcoming we have 5G, where these are all the technologies that can improve and improve our industry a lot. So in Geospatial Tech, we are going to combine all the both sides and to give you a holistic solution. So we are still working with all the standard file formats like CAD, BIM, Mesh, point cloud, and also some of the file formats from machine learning, as well as from CCTV images like RTSP and also GeoTIFF. And then we are going to bring this into the few industries that we expertise that we have expertise in. So the first one would be in the AEC industry. So because of my background in construction and also in the engineering and architecture industry, so we are going to bring IoT and also machine learning solutions into these construction sites, as well as for monitoring, site progress monitoring. And then as for surveying applications, we are going to see more and more robotics solutions coming up, especially in drones and also in using robot to carry out surveying. As for public safety, we have crime scene investigation, accident scene investigation. So traditionally, the police officer will go to the crime scene and look at the maybe the dead body or the accident scene, and to capture everything on camera. So now we have more new sensors, like we have drones, we have robots, we have laser scanners, and these are going to change how we capture the accident scenes. And these data, because they are accurately captured, they can be used as evidence in the court. And the police officer can also clear the accident scene as soon as they captured everything. So we will see a lot of improvement in terms of documenting the scene and opening up the road for the other public users to use. And last one is in facility management. So I think this is especially important now, as when COVID hit us, we cannot work outside, and also there's a lot of safety policy where we have safety distancing, and also there's some travel bans. we also see that there's a lot of government requirements for building monitoring, and also these workers that can present in the office and also in the workspace. So facility management present a new, there's a new need for building management to manage their facility. So we are also going to bring GIS and also space management together, where we combine IoT, some other sensors to help these building management people better manage their facility, and also to have more intel about who is using the space and how the spaces are being utilized. And then and then we are going to push all these applications to the cloud, to the mobile, and as well as to the internet. So yeah, because this company is quite new now, so I don't have much material to show, but yeah, basically this is what we do. So yeah.
And it's quite a wide variety if you think look at it, right? So basically, it sounds to me like you're building a platform, right? So for the different technologies to plug in, a lot of things I think we take it for granted that everything is kind of just works, right? But actually, there are a lot of pieces that need to be integrated together and put into the right layers. With all the data coming in the right place, the applications coming in the right place, and specifically customizing it for specific domains. Like you say, like the architecture, engineering, and construction domains will have a very different requirements from facilities management, even though they are both dealing with buildings, for example, right? But they're actually different domains, right? So that's a good example. All right, and we'll definitely come back to you for more questions. I want to take the chance to have our fourth speaker today, Abdullah Maruf. Abdullah Maruf, he's spent the last 8 years working with a lot of machine learning, big data, and when he joined Synspective in 2018, he's actually the first engineering member there, right? So literally build out the whole engineering culture over there, where they work on SAR, right, synthetic aperture radar satellites, which I'll let him explain because it's very technical. Please go ahead, just take it, Maru.
Okay, thanks Jinju for a brief introduction. Unfortunately, some text are missing in the slide. Okay, but yeah, I'm Maruf. I'm Platform Development Manager in Synspective. Synspective is a space startups in Tokyo. So we started in 2018, and right now around 120 members from 20 countries. So it's a global team, and we have two types of business pattern. One is satellite launching and selling data, and another one is finding the insights from the satellite data and serve a solution. So we launched our first satellite last year, December, and we get successfully the first image of satellite, and we launched 3 solutions as a platform, and I'm going to describe it a little bit later. So yeah, that's a brief introduction of our company, and yeah, I'm enjoying here. So before going to these slides, I want to know how this is a GeoFest, so I hope everyone knows about satellite. I want to know how many knows about SAR. In QA chat.
You can assume that most people don't know about SAR.
Okay. Okay, I see. Yeah, SAR is a new technology. So everyone knows about satellite. There are different type of satellites. There are some called geostationary satellite for mobile communications, and there are satellites for GPS signals, and there are satellites for television and broadcasting. And the other kind of satellites, it's like Earth observation satellite, which actually observe the Earth situation. In that case, there are 2 types of satellite mainly. One is what we know, that satellite take images like camera. It's called optical satellite. Another one is the new technology. It uses radar technology, which is called synthetic aperture radar satellites. So for optical satellites, it's like a passive sensors. It reflect on the light. So when there is light, it can reflect the light like camera. So it cannot take images in night. It cannot take images when there is cloudy. So especially for the Southeast Asian country, it's mostly cloudy in the monsoon season. So there is SAR. SAR is like active radar, so it reflect radiate the microwave and reflect, so you can see day and night even in the same way. But the difference is you cannot understand in a black and white eye. You need some technology to understand what's inside this. You can imagine there is two satellites. Right one is the SAR. It's a black-white image. Even more raw level, we get only the microwave reflections. So SAR is the new technology, and it's making a new innovation in terms of exploring the earth and getting more insight from the earth, like moisture, like the ground deformation, that kind of like insightful information. And it's very critical for the tracking the sheep in the ocean, because that's very like critical for security reason. So this is basically SAR and optical satellite, and we are basically launching 100 kilogram like a base SAR satellite. So our satellite is 100 kilogram. It's much cheaper than the traditional ordinary big satellites. So we call this a small SAR satellite. And this year we are going to launch another satellite, and down the road by 2030 we are going to launch 6 satellites, and our milestone is 30 satellite by 2030 to cover hourly the Asian country, big cities. Can you go to the next slides? Now I want to go like what's the like application levels of SAR satellite. This is the most applications so far we have. It's called informatic SAR, in SAR. So this is the specialty of SAR. So it means like satellite will goes in the same place over time. So it can measure, it's a microwave, so you can imagine it reflects the same way. If any change happen, then it can reflect the changes in a millimeter level. So we launch a solution called land displacement monitoring. Unfortunately, the title is not showing. It's called land displacement monitoring, and we can measure millimeter level changes. So find a city like the Bangladesh or other country which is sinking, or even the country where there is a possibility to sink, and even infrastructure like big infrastructure, bridges, or there is landslides in the mountain areas. So there is slowly sinking. So this solution can detect the changes over time and set an alert for the authority that there might be a possibility to happen an accident. And we know previously there was a big damage in 2018 in Brazil. There was 20 people died because of the landslide. It was a dam. But we analyzed that if we could monitor that timely, and we can prevent that, and we can understand it might be happening an accident. So it's one of our solution, and we can able to detect like automatically. We don't need to do any convention. So our platform can handle, if user just select an area in the time period, we can launch our captured data and give the solution to the customer with an alert. This is one big use case of SAR. Please go the next one. Okay, this is another interesting use case of SAR. The name was not showing. It's flood damage assessment, a disaster damage assessment. So as I said previously, Southeast Asian countries are mostly flooded. Indonesia, India, Bangladesh, and those countries are often flood is happening often. And in the flood time, it's very critical that the weather is not good. So like traditional optical satellite cannot take the images. So then the SAR come. So it can take images even of night and day, so you can understand what's the flood situation. And we launched a release solution. We called it flood disaster damage assessment with a flood damage assessment solution. We can detect the height of the flood, how much flood happens, and we can detect the number of buildings on the targeted area, how many, with the level of the severity of the flood. And we can detect the roads and buildings. So we can generate the alerts even after within 24 hours flood happened. So it's a new technology, and I think it will combine with some traditional technology like ground sensor, and so it will make a new innovation in the application level. So I think SAR is emerging, and not only SAR, you can say new space is emerging, and as Jon saying that he's also trying like combining SAR with optical satellite with the LiDAR and mobile technologies. It will be combined within a short period of time, and it will make an ecosystem of technology and make the new space, and it will bring a new society. I hope then we'll try to contribute that.
That's right. The keyword here is ecosystem, right? So I think all speakers have mentioned this word in one form or another. You're either we are all part of the same space, and therefore, if you are either the data provider, data consumer, you are either help provide insights to users, or you help provide accurate data to the different applications who need all these data. So I have some questions. So what I'm going to do for the next half an hour is basically I'll ask some questions, but I also have the floor is also open. So if you guys have questions, please ask I think there's a Q&A feature. So and we will collect them and ask them, right? So I'm going to kick off by going back to Abhijit, right? So Abhijit, you probably know that we as a drone company, we work a lot with NParks in the sense that we also try to participate, like for example, in the example you gave of safe distance for the crowd monitoring in the parks, right? We provide the aerial footage basically that integrates into the AI, basically the crowd counting, right? So that's an example of something that we are the data provider. But it's often the opposite that I find it very difficult, which is I want to take NParks data and kind of make good use of it, right? And I often hear NParks talking about collaboration, co-creation, and so on. So can you share a bit more, like how can we either contribute data, like when we see a tree fallen, can we report the tree has fallen, right? Or how can we consume those data, and how does the ecosystem around the NParks Maven system, right, works with all the other startups or the other geospatial companies or even the public?
Right. I think this is a very interesting question that we are all talking about the ecosystem. So I just want to touch base, and would like to take this opportunity and go back previously to say and how in the previous occasion NParks was collecting data and how the ecosystem actually built up. So basically what happened is in the past, NParks officers, they keyed their field observation when they're going to the field, and they are using devices that were not connected to the internet, which is the national parks basically the network, right? Which means that it had to be docked back to the office before the information that the officers are collecting from the ground could be transferred to the central system and analyzed, right? So the first step that NParks took for the digitalization process was to push build an integrated mobile application. That's called a mobile TI TMFM. That is the application name. So that was built, and basically it is co-developed by GovTech and NParks that time. And basically this mobile application, what it does is it allows field officers to access the information in their fingertips. So if they're going to the field, all the information, they can open up their application in the mobile devices, such as tree inspection, like daily operational work, tree inspection, the management of the trees, the park facilities, and so on. So using this app basically has been accessible by their mobile devices, such as tablet, their iPads as well. So tree inspection officers then can access this information of the locations that has been scheduled by some of the department, that these are the areas you need to go and do the inspection. What we call is managed area, right? So retrieve and relevant the locality map and orient yourself, and then enter the inspection details. Even you can open up your camera and take photo and just geotag that photo of the relevant inspection of the data, right? Something like that. And then the information captured in the field then synchronized back with NParks operational system that previously I was talking about, the geospatial database system that we have prepared. And in case there is no network connectivity, offline mobile application can also work. So officers can download a certain portion of the area in Singapore. They can go do the work and come back, and they can do the synchronization when they come to the connectivity, right? The office connectivity. So basically, you see the collaboration happened for that particular application with GovTech and NParks. Similarly,
but has it expanded beyond the officers themselves, right?
Yeah. So I'm coming to that point. It is just the starting of the whole digitalization and the ecosystem. So I'm going to explain how it has transformed and outreach to the public later on. So and also the entrepreneurs and other like researchers, how they're going to get the data, right? So with the more like data diverse, the data sources and the greater data complexity, so the integration of the data helped NParks obtain like its deeper insights into Singapore's green space, because we are trying to enhance the green space in Singapore. This is made possible by the system I actually told is the Maven, right, previously. And the Maven is also co-developed by the GovTech and NParks. It's basically allowing the data that just now Maruk was talking about, the satellite data. So the raster data sets, the field operation data sets, the public feedbacks, the flora and fauna sightings to be overlaid on the map of the Singapore. So, and the base map on that particular application we consume. So we're consuming from the SLA1 map, base map, and also there is a system from SLA called Geospace base map. So this is how the technology and the services been, within the government agencies is being collaborated. And definitely the other side, the technology partner was SG and its ArcGIS technology. So this is the internal system. Now I think you brought up one point about the trees.sg before. So trees.sg is basically a kind of an online portal which is developed by NParks and GovTech. And there are more than 500,000 urban trees, and we are counting with the 1 million trees movement. So the portal not only lets you locate the individual trees on the map, but it also provides the information on their scientific and the common names as well, like the dimensions, what is the height of the trees, what is the carbon content, and the pruning schedule. What we call is a haircut of the trees is going to happen. So sometimes you see on the ground, the truck is cutting down the trees, the field officers on the tree. How this has been scheduled, everything has been controlled by the systems. Now, the community, like the public, they can also indicate if the tree is flowering or not, upload their pictures of the trees, they can leave a message, they can even give hug to the trees. So depending on the situation, where the tree is flowering, they go and take a photo and upload that photo into the portal, which is the trees.sg, right? So it's kind of a larger effort, to harness the science and technology, and enhancing the green space of Singapore.
Right. So when the public uploads this information, do you vet those information? Do you make sure that the information is correct, or it's just a social feature?
Not really.
The map, because the map has to be correct, right? Yeah.
Right. So the data which is been plotted by the public on the trees in the system trees.sg. So this actually comes under the 1 million trees movement planting program, right? So that the data is being checked by the NParks officer. So we do the QA/QC at the back before we go and push to the master database. So for all the tree planting program, NParks, basically we are working with the working to incorporate the data and users' pictures. Like they're not always good pictures that we get. So sometimes we take the correct pictures for the business purposes and upload the data. So it's being checked by the NParks officers at the back end. Yeah.
Right. Does NParks subscribe to Synspectic's SAR images as an input as well?
Okay, no, I do not.
Or any SAR images
know at this moment. We have some raster data sets, but I'm not sure from where it has been subscribed to. But yeah,
Okay.
this is about the consumption. I think you also brought a point about how the public or the entrepreneurs can get the data. If there is an open data portal for Singapore, which is data.gov.sg. So there are some data sets available. I think there are, if I'm not wrong, 20 over data sets has been shared freely. People can go and they can just take a look in terms of CSV, shape file, or KML file.
Right. And if they want more data, they could write in and kind of like discuss with you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we
Right.
consume one of them, right? We consume the heritage tree data set that you publish. So actually,
Right.
we do publish like all the heritage tree because we are worried when we fly drones that we fly into a heritage tree, we have to pay $1 million to fly. It's actually a very expensive thing.
So yeah,
Right.
definitely you can write and to NParks to get the permission. If it's depending on the classification, yeah, definitely if it's unclassified and can be shared to the public, NParks can think of sharing of that data, right?
Right, and I think it's important because this is well, I always say it's taxpayers' money, right? So we paid for this thing to be curated. We should be able to benefit from it, build applications, and then benefit even more people onto it.
Right.
But
Right. I think
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, the data sharing part, yeah, it definitely is there. That is why we have shared some of the data sets in the data.gov.sg, the Singapore's open geospatial platform. So you can go and you can identify the data sets which are available there. If you need some data, you can write back to NParks. Yeah.
Right. So given that that's the public data set, right? So I do know that, like, for example, let's kind of skip back to Maruf, right? So since Inspecting is doing this as a business, right? So it's not a government. So you do sell SAR imagery, essentially. That's your business model, right? How do people get access to it? Like, one of the things that I was told when I was doing my business of doing drone mapping and so on is that my customers came to me because they don't want to buy satellite imagery. It'll be so much easier because I don't have to go there and fly a drone and stitch the image and so on, because the satellite is just going around Earth, round and round and round. Just get the data, right? And I'm actually quite impressed in your presentation just now. You say you can go to 1 millimeter, which is crazy, right? I mean, you're right up there in the orbit, and you can actually detect millimeter differences. How much is it to get to the millimeter level? And can a regular entrepreneur in a big company or an entrepreneur, right, a startup, let's say Bell or Yoni, wants those data sets to build it into their products, can they get access to Synspective SAR data, and how do they do that?
Thank you. That's very interesting topic. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
So you can imagine, like, space was kind of governmental, like, for last, if you consider like 3-4 years back, 5 years back, like, no public people consider about using the satellite data, but it's a new space. And our satellite, if I say, it costs like 1, like 1% of 10, like 10% of costing for launching a satellite. So you can imagine how the industry is transforming. And at the same time, we are thinking about like making a platform so that we can share the single image. So single image is very big. It's like 30 kilometers across 50 kilometers, so like a big image. But as a corporate level, they only consider maybe 10 square kilometer or 20 square kilometer. So we are thinking of platform like where same image will be shared by different parties. But yeah, still it's not for public. It's we are considering like big corporates like AEC industry, like NGOs, like World Bank, that kind of. So it's transforming from governmental level to like big corporate level. So it's reasonable for corporates. And the solutions are SaaS. So you can imagine they don't need to purchase the actual satellite data. They can get the solution directly through ourselves, through like NPark, or through like LIMS company. Like, they're providing the solution based on the data. So it's like indirectly going to the customer level and with a reasonable price. I think down the line, there are some satellites that are going free, especially like ESA is launching some free set, like providing SAR data free. So it's accessible by public.
So the free ones you're talking about the Landsat, Sentinel, the kind of
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
mainstays. Okay, cool. So in other words, it is affordable as long as it's thin sliced in some way, right? I call it thin slicing because the large piece is expensive, but we can all share the cost together, and that should make it affordable. So I think all of us should try our very best to, if possible, incorporate it. Okay, I'm getting some questions already, and a lot of it is really related to entrepreneurship. So I'm going to kind of switch gears a bit to talk about the two young companies here, Bus AR and Geospatial. Right? So maybe I start with Bell, right? One of the I think in the Q&A there's this similar question, which is how do you grow from such a small company to a big company, and essentially what have you done, right, to grow the company? Because one of the things that you built was just an app, and you say like it's going viral and so on, right? But that itself does not describe how the company grows in terms of revenue, in terms of business model, right? What do you have to do basically to hustle together enough customers, for example, to even quit your job, right, before you even jump into entrepreneurship boat, and and what can you tell the young entrepreneurs, right, in terms of how should they look at this transition into entrepreneurship, and also the early young stages of growing a geospatial related or AR related company? You are muted, Bell.
That's a very long question.
And the loaded
So-
question, sorry.
It's okay. I will try my best. So if I have not answered any parts, you just remind me again. So initially, my journey was that I took a very careful step because my dad has always wanted me to be a lawyer for the longest time. He thinks like being a lawyer means make it already. So I actually signed up I was quite lucky because I applied for a scholarship at UC Berkeley. Then I sort of pivot very, very carefully. Like I took my major is law and technology. So my dad actually thought that I went to school and trying to be a better lawyer. So he never thought like I started my company first here in Singapore before flying over to San Francisco. And during that 2 years, right, for the master's program, instead of studying, I was very much hanging out in Silicon Valley, going to conference, meeting investors, hustling, talk to TripAdvisor, talk to Sense Group. This is how I got all my contracts. So I never studied. I did everything that I should not tell this youngster to do. But I guess you have to follow your heart. Like if you really like something, I believe that you will figure out a way to do it such that you can still juggle both sides. Like I still get all my scholarship and I still pass and
Right.
still graduate. So I believe if you really first thing first, know what you want. And secondly, I didn't quit my job immediately. So it's like after many years of working, accumulating my savings, I make sure like I have about two years to survive in case I get no contracts. And being a
Right.
lawyer, I'm very pessimistic. I have been in the thought process that I won't be successful for the longest time. So I make sure I have that 2 years saving first. And
Right.
secondly, when I was studying, I also worked as a VR modeling for different companies, even in San
Right.
Francisco. So just get very uncomfortable, even though, I mean, I'm totally uncomfortable when I'm seeing like foreigners, then I have to, I don't have their accent, I have to act like it. So all that also came into place. So yeah, just believe in what you truly want in life, know your why, and be super uncomfortable. The rest will you'll fall into places.
One place.
Of course, we bootstrap from 0 to 3 million. That is because, I mean, everyone here will share the story. Like, it's just insane work ethics, right? You just have to, like, just as a matter, like, just last night, I worked until 4 a.m. plus because I have to speak with US investors. So if you are willing to put in this kind of hours, and be water, adapt
Right.
whenever you are not successful. You will get there one day. It's just a matter of time.
Right. So plan for the worst, hope for the best, work harder than the rest, and basically it will fall in place. Right, that's very, very good advice. So there's this one other part that I think maybe I'll go on to Yoni, right, who is also now just starting up, and he's making the switch. There must be something that you are seeing, right? So Yoni, right, that the rest are not seeing, right? There must be some gap in the market. There must be some specific breakthrough, because you mentioned about the platform. There are many pieces in your slide. There's a lot of things. I know. I mean, I was a fresh entrepreneur once 8 years ago. I also go out and say I can do everything the sun, right? But there must be one thing that you look at it and like, this is a gap. This is this one thing that if I put all my eggs here first, right? Just like I think Bell put everything into the AR side of things, right? And we kind of go deep into it and really go through, see it. What is that one thing to you, right? What is that? In the words of the question that was being asked in the panel, right? What do you think is the most exciting geospatial technology breakthrough in the recent years, and what's that challenge you see in the adoption of that particular technology, and what would you base your consultancy on, basically, on this?
Okay, what I think is different now compared to a few years back was our computing technology has really improved a lot. So with modern machine learning and also computer understanding to semantics, so we are able to automate a lot of thought process where computers are now able to really digitize something based on raw data really quickly. Okay, so because nowadays people are more and more impatient. We want things quick. We want everything to come up fast, and not like last time. Last time you can collect data on the site, and then you take a few weeks to process it into something useful, and then you publish it as your geo information. That was the past, and now people want it like real time, or at worst near real time. Okay, so what I see is with our current technology, and also with upcoming 5G and our IoT technologies, we are finally able to bridge this gap, and we can bring a lot of interactivity and also real-time technologies to geospatial, and that's why I want to ride on this wave, like just like what Abhijit did for NParks. Nowadays, you have sensors on a park where these sensors are continuously feeding data onto your web map or into your database, and we can now see a lot of live database and also live maps where people can immediately see what is happening real time on the spot. As well as maybe for Bell, maybe if we can integrate this kind of live data into VR, AR, then we are going to see a lot of new interactivity between people and whatever is happening in the real world. So that's why I believe this is the time for geospatial technology. And also, I think, we finally have that technology on our hand.
Right. So we finally have the kind of the fidelity, right? Basically, right?
Correct.
To do it in what we call real time, right? So real time actually brings out a slightly different problem. And again, this is also a question being asked by the audience, right? I know that because I get it a lot. Is the question of privacy. Traditionally we talk about privacy. We always worry about the camera, right? It's always about camera, seeing my face, CCTVs and all this. And when I started my own drone business, it's like, oh no, you're gonna go and do peeping Tom and look at people from the house. It keeps coming over and over again. But to be honest, maps are also quite worrisome, right? The more now, every one of us carries a phone. We have Apple has AirTags, and everyone has a tracker. Everything's being tracked, and we all know what's happening where in real time. So this is just a question to any of the speakers who want to have chime in if you have any thoughts on this. So, in the words on the wall, right? So, data privacy and data sovereignty is an increasing concern, right? ignoring the government side, right? Just to address the public concern, right? What are we doing? Is there anything we can do, right? What kind of impact is there? But is there anything we can do on our own part to ensure that this privacy is taken seriously, right? We do have PDPA, and we should leverage it. And I think there needs to be something done also on the geospatial data. Anybody has any thoughts on this?
I think this is one of the bad side you have to consider. We can like enjoy the Google Maps, the pointing and the real time like movement. But this is the benefits of technology. But at the same time, you are tracked. Someone is tracking you. There's the bad side. So I think this is the policy level of the government level. I need to consider that how those who are taking those data, like satellite company or even like GIS tracking company, how they use the data. This is like the call for the government to take, I think.
All right. So Maros thinks it is for the government to take it. Our representative from the government here, do you think that we have protected our data enough that when we put it on data.gov.sg, it addresses all privacy concerns? And can we do better?
No, I think as I mentioned earlier, is about I think the classification matters. If it's really restricted data and it's a classified data, I think then it's a matter how the government is going to share that information to the public. But having said that, I think government is already sharing data. That's why you have that open data portal, data.gov.sg, where organizations such as NParks, we already have put together like 20 over data sets to be consumed by the users, no matter whether you're like a public user or a researcher, anyone can go and consume those data in terms of different formats. Maybe it's a KML or a shape file or maybe a CSV data. So yeah, if it's shareable, I think then definitely government is doing its part, and you can see a lot of data are uploaded there. So yeah.
Right. All right, I think we have run out of time, but just want to also give the chance for Belle and Yoni as well. Any last words you have, especially for the entrepreneurs? Any tips on how to use geospatial data better, or how to integrate AR better into your business case to help people understand? I think AR is about place as well, right? About how you interpret the space, as well as all the other geospatial technologies. So, any last words you want to give the audience? Belle, you want to go first?
Oh, okay. I really wish that the audience may also think from like not only like AR as a technology per se, but how it can be applied and make people have a better life, basically creating a better world. Like sometimes it's not really technology per se.
Right.
So I wish that every aspiring entrepreneur, like young people here, you can think more of the benefits to people or to places rather than just focusing on to. Of course, we appreciate the beauty of technologies. Like we are hardcore in technologies as well. If not, you won't see so much of AR and AI work. But I also wish that you will think more of what benefits you are bringing to the community and make the world a better place. Thank you.
Right. Yoni, how about you? Do you have any tips, just one tip, right, on how to formulate kind of new business models or products and services around geospatial?
I think we need to talk to people. Yeah, believe your friends, believe partners. So get more ideas and opinions from people around you. Yeah. So
Wonderful.
yeah, this is the way I came up with my company.
Right. So I think then to round this off, I think just from my own point of view as well, right? I think the interesting thing about this panel is that actually all of us kind of have to integrate with each other, right? In order to see actually certain value being translated, and all of us are playing a certain part of an ecosystem, right? So there's a value chain of data from the raw data to the there's this nice meme. I don't know how to pull it out, right? From raw data to organized data to insights, and then to find into wisdom, right? And for us to find that wisdom in a place, right, requires the kind of geospatial technologies that we have today. So with that, I want to thank all the speakers. Any last questions? I don't see any last questions from the audience. And thanks all the audience for spending the whole day with us on the Geospatial Youth Forum. And I hope to see you. I think there's one more day, right? Tomorrow or something. Yeah. So I hope to see you more in the conference. And thank you very much. Back to you, Jonathan. Wow, a lot of thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up.
A very big thank you to Abhijit, Bell, Yoni for the very inspirational sharing, as well as Jinju for your wonderful moderation. Also a big thank you to the audience for your kind attention and the questions. I hope this session provides you with a good perspective of what it takes to be an innovative geospatial professional and entrepreneur today. So we have come to the end of the program. We hope to see you back here tomorrow for the very last day of the Singapore Geospatial Festival. We have a series of presentation lined up starting from 10 a.m. So that'll be all, and I wish everyone a pleasant evening, and goodbye.